They marked Mia Watson for death, a sniper with a broken watch and nothing left to lose. She didn't beg. She aimed. 3 generals fell, 1 shot at a time, while a dusty road pulled her toward the trap she swore to spring. Stay if you dare to see who really hunts whom. Mia Watson kept a broken watch in her pocket. It didn't tick. It pressed a small round weight into her thigh as if time itself wanted to sit in her lap and apologize. She checked it anyway. Habit, not hope. Wind skated along the ridge. It pushed dry grass one way, then another. The grass sounded like paper being turned. Her cheek lay on the stock of a suppressed rifle. Breath in, half breath out, hold. She tasted iron and old dust. She was not supposed to be here. She was supposed to be dead. The mark on her head had started as a whisper and ballooned into a bounty. They called her the Needle. The nickname stuck to her skin like burrs after a crawl. She did not correct anyone. She had learned that names did not matter. Angles did. Distances did. Schedules did. Until the schedules lied. She slid the broken watch out and thumbed the spidered glass. The minute hand pointed to a time that had ended the night she lost her team. A roadside flare, a convoy frozen, the first shell walking in like a drunk with a grudge. Time stopped. The watch did too. She put it back. Down in the basin, a motorcade cut a chalk line through pale clay. 3 vehicles. Front scout, middle cargo, rear teeth. The first would pass the burned truck where she had anchored her range. Her heart's beat tried to rush ahead, but she denied it. She paced it with math. The target was the general who liked perfect lines. Columns, rank, fields, ledgers, tidy cruelty, and tidy notebooks. He would stand today at 12:10 and tighten a glove with his teeth, because his hands shook when he lied. She knew the glove. She knew the teeth. She knew the lie. The wind flag on her viewpoint slouched. A mercy. She dialed 1 click left for the cross breeze that breathed from the canyon mouth. The canyon smelled of sage and rusted wire. It smelled like old refusals. She counted the escort's rhythm. 1, 2, 3, back to 1 again. If the driver hit the pothole, the shock would jolt the headrest. The headrest would pop the general's chin forward. A chin gives you a neck. A neck gives you an end. Her empty wallet rested behind her in the rucksack. It had room now. Room and a photograph. The photograph showed a motel door with peeling paint. No people, just the door. The only door they never walked back out of. She kept that, and nothing else. The convoy slowed at the wreck. The front car took a cautious wide arc. She breathed to the bottom of herself. The rear window of the middle car slid down like a sigh. Fingers tugged a glove's edge. Teeth bit leather. Mia touched the trigger as if it were a bruise. The rifle thumped, soft and sure. Glass breathed out. Leather fell. The general's head found the seat back and then forgot to rise. The basin bloomed with panic. Doors kicked. Men shouted. Dust lifted in a pale sheet. Mia did not look. She had already chambered a second round for whoever grabbed the radio first. It wasn't noble. It was arithmetic. Radios call helicopters. Helicopters complicate roads. She broke position only when the wind climbed and started to chatter at her barrel. She slid back in a belly crawl, keeping the rifle low and her back lower. Gravel tried to climb into her elbows. She let it. Some fights were not worth the breath. At the crest's far side, she stood and became anyone. A woman in a sun-bleached cap, a limp canvas jacket, a pack with nothing of value. She walked the ridge trail until the ridge gave her to a dusty road. The road led toward a town that had too many dogs and not enough fences. She checked her watch again. Still dead. Good. She hated when things pretended to change. At the gas shack, a boy in a soccer jersey watched her fill a canteen from a plastic drum. His eyes stayed on the rifle case. He had the kind of curiosity that bad men turn into business. She nodded to him and set a coin on the counter. The coin was local. It would feed the rumor that she was local too. "Where's the bus?" she asked. He pointed with his chin. "When it comes, it comes." She sat on the step. The canteen sweated in her hand. Far out over the flats, a vulture spun a slow, lazy loop as if orbiting a secret. Her phone buzzed, a secure line with an insecure voice. It was Camilla. "Handler, friend, sometimes both, sometimes neither. You're clear?" Camilla asked. "Until I'm not." "Good. First of 3 is confirmed. Reaction is loud. Second target moved up his rally, tomorrow, West Airfield. Open runway, open stage." "Open skull," Mia said. "Listen to me." Camilla's voice thinned. "They've marked you." doubled the price. They want a woman's head to teach the boys about certainty. You hear me? I hear. That road you're on? It's a throat. Don't linger in it, I won't. Cash is in the dead drop. Cliff House, mile 9. You'll find a wallet. Make it empty. I don't need new weight, Camilla exhaled. Already done, the bus did not come. A truck did, and the driver let her climb into the bed, where sacks of limes rolled in their own tiny weather. She lay between two stacks and felt the road skip beneath the tires like a record with a scratch. The sky overhead was thin as old denim. They passed a burned billboard. The picture had once showed a couple on a beach. Only their smiles remained. No faces. Just teeth. At mile 9, the driver pulled over without asking why. People know when a person belongs to a place. He knew she belonged to the Cliff House and not to him. She climbed out, left a lime behind as thanks, and hiked the footpath on switchbacks carved by teenagers who needed a dare. The house was an old stone thing with windows that remembered ocean they'd never actually seen. Under the porch, in a crack behind a board, she found the dead drop. Inside, a wallet. It was empty. It held exactly what she could bear. A note weighted too, folded to the size of a lie. She unfolded it with 2 fingers. They know about Camilla. They will use her as bait. Her hand went still. Her breath turned sharp. Below, the dusty road was already starting to talk. An engine, maybe 2. The cliff held its shadow tight. Mia slid the broken watch into her palm and closed her fist around it until the glass bit skin. Boots sounded behind her. Not on the porch. Inside the house, she had not come alone. The first boot scraped wood. The second scuffed the stone. She raised the rifle by instinct. The door handle turned, and a voice she thought she'd never hear again said calm and low, "Don't shoot, Mia, it's me." He stepped into the light like a regret made human. Ben Hollis. Her spotter, her ghost. He had died the night the watch broke. That was how she kept the story in one piece. But there he was with dust on his shoulders and a scar she didn't remember, carrying a bag that sagged like a tired heart. Her finger found pressure. The barrel found his sternum. "If you're him," she said, "tell me what the wind was when we missed the tower window in Alcarn." "No wind," he said. "Mirage, heat boil. We aimed at water that wasn't there." She watched his eyes while his mouth worked. Eyes betray what lips rehearse. His were old but steady. The scar ran from ear to jaw like a pencil line, neat and without tremor. That meant a surgeon, not a brawl. Someone had wanted him to keep his face. He looked at the note in her hand. "So you know. About Camilla? About the noose with her name on it?" "Yeah. I burned everything that pointed to you," he said. "It didn't point to her. I didn't know it would pivot." "I'm sorry, Mia." The apology thudded in the empty room and then rolled to the corners like a marble. "Where have you been?" she asked. "Under," he said. "Then somewhere worse." He set the bag down and unzipped it. She did not relax the rifle. He lifted out a small wooden box, scratches, a stamp. A red ink star that meant diplomatic mail in a chain of countries happy to lie for coin. "It's from her," he said. "Camilla, a week old. She sent it before she went dark." Mia kept the muzzle on his chest and reached with her left hand. The lid lifted. Inside, foam cut to hold a single object. A key with a plastic tag. On the tag, a number and a city and a locker no one used anymore except people who had learned to distrust doors. "What else?" she asked. He offered a folded map and a USB drive wrapped in tinfoil. She waited. He offered a second empty wallet. "Cute," she said. It was her idea. She said you'd laugh. She didn't. He swallowed. "They aren't just hunting you, me, they're stacking the table. 3 generals in 3 days is the story. But the story is also the trap. They want you to finish it so they can finish you on live feeds and call it justice." "Then I won't finish it," she said. He shook his head. "That's the second trap. If you don't, they parade the first general's widow and the second's orphans, and they make you the coward who ran when it mattered." Mia set the rifle down on the table where the wood had a burn ring from a long-ago candle. She picked up the broken watch and tapped its face with her knuckle. "Time's not moving anyway." Ben exhaled, relieved she had not shot him. "We can get her back." "We? I owe you my life." "You think I'm here for nostalgia?" He moved toward the back window and pointed down the ravine. A line of trucks crawled there, painted to look like they were part of the dirt. They were almost convincing. "They're early," he said. "They figured you'd choose high ground." "They figured right. Is there any other kind?" she asked. He gave her a quick grin that hurt her with how familiar it was. We go down the old goat path. It ribbons behind the ridge, spits us in town behind the bus depot. Locker first, then airfield, then Camilla. That order? If she wrote it, yeah. They left the house the way shadows do, by simply not being where they used to be. The goat path was narrow and honest. It told you with each step that one slip meant a curt ending. The road below carried men with guns who would call that ending a win. Halfway down, a sudden wind climbed out of the ravine and pushed at them like a rude cousin. Dust stung her eyes. The broken watch felt heavier, as if it wanted to fall and make a sound that would bring every eye up. She clenched it harder. When they reached the scrub behind the bus depot, the world smelled of diesel and old bread. Ben kept his hands where she could see them. Not because she didn't trust him, she didn't trust herself. The locker room had a half-lit sadness. It reminded Mia of places that never got news on time. She found the number. The key fit the lock like a whispered joke. Inside, a single envelope. Inside the envelope, a photo and a page. The photo showed Camilla at a cafe table pretending to smile. Men bleed in at the edges of the frame like stains. The page was precise. Airfield stage is a shell. The real rally is in the hangar. Vent on east wall. Old rivets. Remove 4. Crawl space to catwalk. You'll see him alone for 6 minutes. Do not take the obvious shot. Watch the mirror. He rehearses in reverse. If I'm not at the blue truck after I'm gone, you must be too. Kimia felt the floor shift under something that wasn't her feet. She knew they'd move it. She knows every move before it's made, Ben said softly. That's why they want her in a cage. They crossed the depot quickly. A boy in a soccer jersey watched them again, but this time he looked away first. The dusty road out to the airfield ran like a scar. They walked it, then jogged it, then ran. The airfield was an old one, born when planes still thought they were birds. The hangars had arched roofs and rust that made maps. A stage had been erected beside the runway for the cameras. Loudspeakers yawned in the wind, silent open mouths. They circled to the east wall as Camilla had written. Ben worked a blade under the rivets with the gentleness of a locksmith who had sworn off miracles. 4 soft pops, a metal rectangle eased free. The duct smelled like hot tin and forgotten lunches. Mia slid first. She had always been the one who went first. Ben followed, his breath a steady pace behind her boots. They reached the catwalk and found it dusty and patient. Below, the hangar floor lay under unforgiving light. The general, a different one from the basin, stood alone with a mirror on a stand. Not vanity, practice. He mouthed words at himself and watched the reflection move like a stranger who almost knew him. He clapped for his own joke. He pointed to the ceiling to mark the beat where he wanted applause. Mia glanced at the mirror. He had written lines on the back of it with grease pencil. The letters were reversed unless you read them through glass. No security at minute 4, she counted on the inside of her teeth. At minute 3, a captain entered, handed him a folder, left. At minute 4, he turned his back to fix his collar and laughed at a line he must have rehearsed too. Much, her first instinct said, Temple. Camilla's note said, watch the mirror. The mirror showed a doorway she could not see from her angle. In the reflection, a guard smoked where smoke was forbidden. She moved her aim a hair. The general lifted the folder again, eyes flicking to the mirror as if it alone could bless him. She exhaled and pressed. The shot swallowed itself in the hangar's ribs. The general folded like a letter someone had read too often. The smoking guard flicked ash, then realized what had happened and let his cigarette fall the way a child drops a toy when it breaks. Alarm woke up in layers. Distant first, then right here. Ben tapped her calf twice. Move. They crawled, fast now. Back down the vent. The rivet holes felt like tiny mouths breathing at their ankles. They reached the outside wall as a klaxon finally remembered its job. They ran the long way around the hangar, cut under the old wing of a plane whose rivets had held on too long, and sprinted for the fence line. Beyond the fence, a yard of trucks slept in lines like well-behaved animals. The blue truck waited where the note had promised. Camilla was not there. Mia's stomach turned to coal. She looked to Ben. He scanned the yard, mouth hard. She said if she wasn't here, she was gone. She's not gone, Mia said, because her mouth would not say anything else. Across the yard, a door banged open. 2 men hustled a figure between them, hooded, hands bound. They dragged the figure into a beige van and slammed the doors. The van's engine coughed awake. Mia raised her rifle. The shot was a thread through a needle's eye. The van lurched and the driver clutched a newly broken wrist against the wheel. The van fishtailed. The passenger leaned out with a pistol and painted the air with noise. Ben grabbed Mia's jacket and yanked. Bullets bit the fence wire where her face had been. She rolled, came up to one knee, slid the bolt, and stopped. The hooded figure had turned its head as if hearing her own heartbeat. The hood was red. Camilla hated red. This was a decoy. The real van, gray, low, eased out the opposite gate like boredom in motion. She had almost missed it. Its plate was wrong by 1 digit. Camilla's number. A message. Mia sprinted for the blue truck. Ben fired twice to make men duck who might have stood taller. She jammed the key, turned it, and the engine answered with a tired but honest growl. "Which one?" Ben shouted. "The gray left gate. Plate ends in 9. He didn't ask how she knew. He had been her spotter too long. They hit the dusty road so hard the bed rattled like angry cutlery. The gray van kept a steady pace, not too fast, not too slow. The men inside believed in camouflage of behavior. It almost worked. Ben checked the rifle's magazine and then checked hers, a ritual that gave his hands something to do besides shake. "If we push them, they'll call friends." "I want them to," Mia said. "I'm tired of surprises." They crested a low hill and dropped into a shallow valley where the road narrowed to a one-car truth. The gray van entered first. The blue truck followed. The van braked. The truck couldn't pass. Men stepped from shadows with rifles at their hips, amused and hungry. Ben looked at Mia. His mouth moved, forming a word she hated. "Sorry." He opened the door and climbed out with his hands high. "Mia," he called, voice steady. "Put the rifle down. They'll kill her in the van if you don't." He gave her a look that said more than his old letters ever had. It said, "Trust the wind." It said, "Don't trust me." She set the rifle on the seat. She closed her fingers around the broken watch. A figure stepped down from the van. Not Camilla. Someone else. Tall, lean, the kind of lean that wears patience like a coat. "Miss Watson," the figure said, voice warm as a cup offered by a stranger. "We've been waiting." The speaker lifted a phone. On the screen, a live feed showed Camilla in a chair, breathing too fast. A clock in the corner counted down from 6 minutes. 3 generals, the voice said. 3 roads. 3 minutes to decide which you care about more, the mission or the woman. Mia felt the watch's cracked face cut deeper into her palm. She smiled without kindness. "Why not both?" she said. The men laughed, but the tight kind of laugh people do when they feel a draft in a sealed room. The clock ticked. The dusty valley held its breath. Mia let hers go, and somewhere under the truck seat something started to beep. The beeping was small but certain, like a nail tapping inside a wall. Ben's eyes widened, then narrowed. He mouthed, "Now?" Mia nodded once. She had wired the truck herself, the way her father had once wired chicken coops to scare off foxes. Not bombs, just nerves. A nail bridged 2 wires under the dash. A press of the fob in her pocket made the horn scream like a wounded thing. The engine coughed, stalled, and coughed again. The gunman flinched. One fired into the dirt as if punishing it. Only the lean man stood still, studying Mia like a specimen he had finally trapped. Wind rose out of the valley and turned the dust loose. The air grew thick, beige bitter. Mia used the cover. She rolled under the truck, hooked her heel on the crossbar, and slid out the other side. A boot stamped down where her head had been. She came up with her pistol, not graceful but exact. 2 shots tore through the gray van's front tires. The vehicle sagged, crippled. Ben moved with her rhythm. He slammed the door into a rifleman's shin, snatched the falling weapon by its sling, and swung it flat into another man's ribs. Always practical. Always turning one thing into another. "Show her the clock," the lean man called. A phone was lifted in the dust. Camilla appeared on the screen live. Hoodless, breath shallow, her wrists bound. In the corner, a timer counted down from 6 minutes. "Mia," Camilla said, voice shredded by echo. "Don't spend me. Spend them." The lean man smiled thinly. "I am bored by brave." Mia shot the phone. Glass snowed into the dust. The timer vanished. The lean man's smile faltered for the first time. "New plan," she said. "We take you. We trade." The valley erupted. Men rushed in. Narrow ground made every choice sharp. Mia dropped to a knee and shot knees. Ben's stolen rifle coughed twice. A man seized Mia from behind. She shoved the broken watch between his teeth and he gagged on glass. Ben took a round in the arm but turned his body to hide it, always protecting, even while bleeding. The lean man walked forward through dust empty-handed. Closer meant angles lost. His calm voice slipped under the gunfire. When you shot the first general, did you feel tall? With the second, small? Which feeling do you prefer? Hungry, she said, and hurled a stone at his temple. He caught it, then dropped it when Ben smashed his wrist with the rifle stock. A hiss escaped him. Human after all. Mia shot the latch on the gray van. The rear doors flew open. Inside, a hooded figure slumped.